Hey everyone, welcome back. And today I have a very special guest, TV writer and personality. Have to include consumer advocate, I think, author, world traveler, disco lover, co-host of the GizWiz podcast and YouTube channel. And as I know him best, Mad's Maddest writer, Dick DeBartolo. Thank you for coming on. Welcome.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. You read it just the way I wrote it.
Well, you're very prolific, so I try to include everything. I'm sure I missed something.
No, you got most of this. Oh, Match Game. You left out Match Game.
Well, I said TV writer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, so you're not just known as Mad's Maddest writer, but I've heard some of the other Mad crew call you Mad's biggest fan.
Well, you're Mad's biggest fan. Your background. I mean, a man who can made 20 outfit rugs or 10. How many of those
Well,
did you make?
I just made one of these. They're all unique.
Oh, they're
Uh,
all different. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I did
Okay.
one of Sergio's Gru that I'm really happy with.
Wow.
And just other thing that people have asked me for, or just I've made for them just because.
Uh,
So
It's amazing. And then you knitted one of the subscription card, which I thought was odd, but I mean, that's all right.
the
Whatever you
subscription
want.
card,
Yeah.
I could if you want me to. I could
Yeah.
do one of those.
I know. It would be funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were a big fan of Mad before you ever wrote for them.
Yes.
So
I was
tell me, what was it like when you saw your stuff first published in this issue, number 69?
not only was it amazing, it was that I shared the byline with Al Jaffe.
Uh-huh.
Nick Meglin, who and people have heard it a million times. I'll tell it again quickly. You have to send a self-addressed stamped envelope when you send a script to a magazine. Otherwise, if they don't like it, they just throw it away. So my own self-addressed stamped envelope came back, and it was stuffed with cardboard. Said, "Ha ha."
Mm-hmm.
Thought your script was rejected. Um, and then it was signed by Nick Meglin, who later became co-editor with John Ficar. And he said, "You know what?" He said, "This is good because your thing is satire on TV ads, and Jaffe has a one pager, and so we're going to combine his one pager with
Nice.
your thing, and you'll share a byline." So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, no. And then it was hit and miss for the next few issues. And then started a trend and fortunately got in every issue for more than 50 years, at least one article. So
Yeah.
it was a very long run.
Yeah, and not just the magazine itself. You worked on all these books with Don Martin.
Oh, yeah. I wrote 12. Wow. You have them
I have
all.
them all. I even have
The
uh
Klutz.
well, these are two different covers. So I got
Yeah.
both just because I wanted the artwork.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
So
wrote, I think, 10 or 11 of my own Mad paperbacks. And then,
yeah, these ones.
yeah.
Yeah, I got a big pile of your stuff here too. But
And what's so funny is there's a huge Mad fan in Australia, Andrew,
mhm.
and he sent me an email and said, "Do you have a copy of Mad Murders the movies when they changed from the yellow cover to the blue type?"
Mhm.
And oh, it was Fraud and Deception. So I said, "Andrew, I don't even have a copy of Fraud and Deception." Um, as a matter of fact, I just went on eBay and just bought two used copies. So my entire collection is a bookshelf and a half of Mad books.
Mhm.
And so I'm always impressed when a fan has multiple copies of the same book with the different covers. I wish had kept better track of my stuff, but too late now.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say I don't have every book that Mad has produced.
Oh, well, then why am I here?
I know, sorry.
No,
No,
I think it was like over 100 books.
yeah, it's a lot, and
Yeah.
uh, I don't really have all that much room. You see, I'm coming to you from my living room,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I'm gonna have to put all this stuff away when we're done because
I see. Oh, so it's not a mad cave. All right.
I really wish, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it looks good. It looks good.
Oh, thank you. So you've worked with probably just about every artist that
Yes.
Mad ever employed. How did the editors decide which stories you would do and which artists you would work with?
Which story you would do depended on, and first of all, the stories you came up with your own premises for Mad Stories,
Okay.
but assigning TV shows or Mad movies that was done by the editors. Otherwise, you would have three writers all writing the same thing.
Okay.
Um, and so, because I loved gadgets so much, movies that had a lot of gadgetry in it, what they went to me. So a lot of, the Star Wars
Mhm.
things and
Like a James Bond movie, you'd probably
yes,
look at.
yeah. Well, Arnie Kogan was a big James Bond fan, so he did those.
Oh, okay.
And Nick thought anything that had to do with authority, I was great at. So I did the Poop Side Down adventure.
Uh-huh.
Um, that was Mad's biggest selling issue, not because of my satire, but because the movie was such a
Hmm.
gigantic hit. As a matter of fact, I Irwin Allen bought 100, called Bill and said, Bill Gaines, the publisher, said, if I buy 100 copies of the Poseidon Adventure, could Dick DeBartolo autograph them? Because I want to give them to the cast and crew. And I said, yeah, that's a real honor to someone to want them that much.
Yeah.
Um, and I did the Towering Inferno.
Hmm.
Um, and then Larry and Stan were both married and had kids, so family movies went to them.
Okay.
And the artist, a lot of the time, it went to who was available. The big guns were Jack Davis and Mort Drucker.
Hmm.
And if Drucker was busy, um, Davis would do it. And fortunately, my very first book, Mad Murders the Movies, half Drucker did half, and Jack Davis did half.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Again, this one
yeah,
right here.
yeah, exactly. That was my very first book, and there is a misnomer of the writers working with the artists
Hmm.
because the script goes to Mad and they edit it, and then the art department does a layout of what it might look like, and then it goes to the artist.
Hmm.
So the only time the artist and writer, at least in my case, work together would be like with Mad. I think it's called Mad Comes on Strong,
Uh-huh.
which was a book that Don and I did. And I would just call him and say, how about a thing with we do this? And I remember when I said, how about a Western there be like um, 30 Indians on a cliff? Don goes, all right, two Indians on a cliff. And I say, and then a bunch of cowboys. And Don says, and then a cowboy. I said, what is it? He said, I'm drawing this. You think I want to draw 15 Indians and 10 cowboys? So we would do stuff because no one really edited the book. Nick Megalin edited it toward the end, but we
Hmm.
got the stories together before it went to him.
So if you want to do a crowd scene, you should have worked with Sergio because
Oh
he,
my God. He's unbelievable. And
yeah.
Jack Davis is also incredibly fast.
Hmm.
Drucker was a page a week for Drucker. So you had to plan on usually 6 weeks for Drucker to finish a Mad movie satire
Hmm.
because they were often 6 pages.
Did you get any input when if you had an idea for something and you'd think it
Oh
one
yeah, well
artist would be the other?
you wrote it as like a movie script.
Hmm.
It would say opening splash, so and so is on the windowsill. In the corner we see this. Looking in the window is that. But the great thing about both those guys is, especially Drucker, would add a ton of
The chicken
other
fat.
stuff. Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
Chicken fat is what it was called exactly. Yeah, I remember in a satire I did of Tarzan, the movie Tarzan.
Hmm.
There's a lion in the phone booth uh, in the middle of the jungle. There's a lion in the phone booth
Uh-huh.
talking on a receiver. In Star Wars, I think Drucker phones and phone. There's a phone book, like Uranus, Mars,
Hmm.
Staten Island, Long Island, Parsippany, New Jersey. Just lots of crazy stuff like that.
Now, as far as the like what got finalized, I'm going to talk about just a really few quick ones. Like Rick Rubin is a producer, and um, the Warner Brothers cartoonists and Monty Python. They all said basically that we write for ourselves. If it makes us laugh, then it gets in. It's not something that we're doing straight for the audience. If we find
Yes,
it and they get it, then
that is exactly Mad Satire is when Warner Brothers took over and bought Mad.
mhm,
Bill said they want to do a reader survey, and I tell them no. He said we don't want to know who reads Mad because then suppose we find out it's mostly 14-year-olds. Are we going to start writing? He said no.
mhm.
I told him that we write stuff if it's funny, fine. If it's obscure, let the kid look at it in a dictionary.
Yeah, and for me personally, that is exactly what I did. If I didn't get the joke, I wanted to find out what it was about, or like a historical event, or especially like when I was a kid, Vietnam was on TV and the Watergate hearings and stuff, and that was part of my education about really going out and finding what's being done and said and what it really means.
Yeah, no. And then in Bill's behalf, I said, Bill, we are going to do a reader's survey. And so I wrote this one-page survey. Um, what do you think of Mad Check One?
Mm-hmm.
Good, great, extra great, super great. There was all of about about how much money is in your bank account,
Mm-hmm.
what's your bank account number, what kind of valuables do you have in your house? List them here. Please make an outline of the key to your front door here, and then tell us about security in your neighborhood. Is it good? Are the police? And I we got like 100 people filling those in, writing crazy. It was wonderful. I mean, they were not only in on the joke, they wanted to show that they were funny too. They had outlines of skeleton keys. It,
Mm-hmm.
it was great. It was great.
Yeah. That particular page reprinted in,
Uh, oh, is it in there?
it is in here. Yeah.
I'm glad you told me. It's so funny because I think that's the only book I have left that I
Yeah.
sell on
It's
my website.
the very
Oh my
last page.
gosh.
There it is.
The funniest thing is I just mailed out a copy to a fan who bought it today. And it's been so long since I've actually looked in that book. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad I'm glad to know the reader survey's in there.
Yeah. So in your 1994 book, Good Days and Mad,
Yes.
available in soft cover and hardcover.
No more.
No more. They're out
No
now.
more.
You can
I am
find.
out of I am out of both, I am proud to say.
But you talked a lot about your relationship, your friendship with Bill Gaines.
Yes.
So when you think back about him, what stands out the most?
Bill, Bill was several things. One is I love the fact that Bill had kept in mind that there's a certain attitude Mad should have.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me once that there was a newspaper paper shortage.
Mm-hmm.
The stock that newspapers were printed on. And he said the printer called up and said, it's very hard to get newsprint, but I have good news for you. Because we're under contract to print Mad, we are going to print Mad on slick paper at no additional cost. And Bill
Mm-hmm.
said, you're not. Mad does not belong on slick paper.
I agree.
I do have a contract with you. And under that contract, you have to, I don't care what it costs you,
Mm-hmm.
you have to find newsprint or whatever that paper
Yeah.
that Mad is printed. You have to find that because I don't want Mad printed on slick paper. There was, do you know about Mad Minutes? Let's see how much of a fan you are. Ah ha
It sounds
ha!
familiar. Please remind me.
Ah ha ha! A man masking as a Mad fan. All right. So Mad Minutes were little silly 1 minute fake ads.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Bill and I said, we don't do any advertising. I have a plan that we make these little fake ads on cassettes, and we just
Mm-hmm.
mail them to little radio stations. And it'll just say, it's Dick DeBartolo, Mad's Maddest Writer with a Mad Minute. And at the end, we'll say Mad Magazine. And it'll be like a way to keep saying Mad. And he said, if you can do it cheap, do it cheap. And
Yeah.
so we did probably a couple hundred of them. And then an ad agency said, came to Bill and said, we want to do Mad Minutes, make them 45 seconds, and we could get a major sponsor to do a 15-second ad. And he said, we'll send you a demo thing. So they sent a demo thing, and my Mad Minute was me talking,
Mm-hmm.
and the background music was my spouse's music on a $30 Casio organ.
Oh wow.
Their thing was Gary Owen and an orchestra doing background music. And I thought it was pretty neat. I played it for Bill, and Bill said, I do not just not like this. I hate this. This is Mad is your crappy voice, that tinny organ. That's Mad Magazine. It's not a professional announcer. It's not an orchestra. And I love the fact that he kept Mad being Mad.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. It was great. The Mad movie was Mad was writing a movie, their own movie. And then Warner said, we have a movie already and we'll send you a script if you like it. It could be the first Mad movie, and we
Mm-hmm.
could get a series of movies going like National Lampoon.
Right.
And Bill thought the script was okay. The movie was
Terrible.
awful,
Yeah.
terrible, terrible. And Bill tried to get Mad's name removed from it. And they said that no, we made hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
copies. Anyway, I believe he did pay $10,000 to have it removed from when it went to video.
Okay.
Um, but there again, anybody who wrote in and said they hated the movie, he wrote back and said, tell me how many people went and how much the tickets were, and I will refund your money. He was,
Full
uh,
contradictions, that's for sure.
yeah.
Because in your book you talk about how notoriously cheap he was, but I mean, then he'd take everybody on vacation
Yeah,
every
yeah,
year.
yeah. Yes, yes. He was never, if you ever made a long distance phone call and didn't put in a Bill's Bill shit,
Mm-hmm.
with who you called and why, and was it personal or business. He would interrupt a staff meeting with, 10 writers and artists who called 917. He was crazy. And you're right. He took us on these elaborate mad trips. Um, he did this thing. Once he said, write down this Saturday and you'll be gone all day. And that's all I'm telling you.
Hmm.
And we had this love hate fake thing. And I said, is this something I can bring Dennis to? And Bill said, let's put it this way. I rather Dennis came than you. But since you'll like this, you have to come.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, we went to Penn Station and they announced the train to Boston. No one knew. He said, don't go down to the platform. Don't get on the train.
Hmm.
Um, and then we hear another train whistle, and out of the tunnel comes a tiny little switch engine pushing an 1890s observation car with
Oh,
two
wow.
chefs on the observation platform with the white hat and apron.
Hmm.
And Bill said, all right, everybody, this is your surprise. They're hooking this
Wow.
car up to the Metroliner. We're going to have a champagne breakfast to Boston. They're going to put the train on a siding for 6 hours. You guys can tour Boston. I'm going to stay on the train. And then we'll be on the hooked up to the 7-track Amtrak train, 7 p.m. Amtrak train home. And we're
Wow.
going to have a full 7-course dinner with matching wines.
Man,
He did this for 12 of us. For 12 of us.
that's crazy.
Astounding. Yeah, a crazy.
So, yeah, one story I think of, I read in Frank Jacobs' book about uh, how Bill Gaines, he went over to somebody's house and then they took them over to somebody else's house and they did it like 6 times.
Yes.
And then he left because there were too many people.
I don't remember that part, but I do remember they were going to somebody's house. I was not part of this. This was
Okay.
before Bill and I were friends. They were going to somebody's house and they were picking up different people on the way.
Hmm.
So each time they would go to a new house, only two of them would go to the door. And Bill would say, you got to help us. Frank Jacobs here has fallen in love with somebody else, and we don't know what to do. And at every person's house, they make an elaborate story at the door. And then the person would go, well, and then Bill said, we're just here to pick up so and so. That story's just fake. We're just having fun with you. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think Bill did he go out because he didn't like big crowds?
It didn't really say. It just said that he
Uh,
left because there were too many
he-
people at the last house. So,
oh, okay, okay, that could be. That could be.
so here's some of the things that I collect
Oh
too.
my gosh! Oh
Signatures.
my, yeah!
This was from Tim Johnson. He holds
Oh
auctions, a
my
couple auctions a
gosh! Oh,
year.
Tim, yes.
Yeah. So I got that, and then you were kind enough to autograph this and send it to
Okay,
me from
yep,
your
yep.
website.
Okay.
So yeah, it my very first signature though from anybody from Mad was this handwritten note from John Ficarra, and it's a response to me complaining that Mad stopped including inserts in the super specials. So
Oh, what did he say? It
he
looks very
said,
short.
"Thanks for the ideas. Unfortunately, we had to stop doing the insert because of cost."
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. When Bill um was running Mad, he every time Warner would raise the price of the specials,
Uh huh.
uh, he would say you just can't charge people money and not give them something extra.
Right.
So they started the bonuses, but then at one point he said, we're going to start eliminating bonuses. He said it's partly the price of the bonus. He said it's a whole new thing with the post office
Mm-hmm.
is that the bonus has to count as a certain number of pages, depending on how big the bonus is. And he said it's to the point where we just can't do it.
Uh-huh.
So John was right. They did stop bonuses at one inserts at one time.
Yeah. Well, as a teenager, I didn't really know all about business and
Oh
finance.
yeah,
I was
no.
just like, oh, we're I'm
Yeah,
getting
no, I
shortchanged
totally
here.
understand. Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it.
So I really wish I had been able to visit the MAD offices when they're on Madison Avenue.
Oh God,
That would have
yes.
been awesome because I mean, and you talk about it, and even in the magazine itself, we got glimpses into what was going on in the office, and it just looked crazy. And I thought, and I'm sure a lot of other readers, it's like, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
we had a visitor once, and this woman came in, and we had boxes of magazines in the hallways and stuff. And she looked down, she said, "This is perfect." She said, "I was so afraid I was going to come in here and it was going to be deep carpeting and stainless steel railings and people dressed up." On the other hand, when Bill died
mm-hmm,
and the suits, the executive we called the suits,
right.
when Bill died and the suits from Warner came over, they looked around and said, "This place is a dump. This looks like a high school newspaper." And we thought normally that would be a compliment. They said, "Bill is dead. Bill put a wall between you and the corporate world.
Mm-hmm,
The wall's coming down. You're not going to live like this." It was terrible. A couple of the women were crying. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was everything man stood for.
mm-hmm,
They didn't want. I think they finally said, "You can do what you want in your own office as long as you close your door when you leave." They don't even want others to see how wretched we live.
well, but again, their suits, they just didn't understand. They didn't get it.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
And, again, as readers, we got it. I mean, you called us clods and idiots for buying trash, but I mean, we knew we were getting the best artists and the best writers and the funniest stuff, and nobody else even came close.
Yeah. No, no, thank you for that. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah, and for me, that was the end of an era when Mr. Gaines died. When I learned about Norman Mingo and Jack Rickard, I'm like, wow. It's like just reading your stuff all those years. I mean, every issue you got a couple of Don Martins, you got a Spy versus Spy at least. It was just familiar. And like you said, on that cheap
Yeah.
paper, that's where it belonged.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And from time to time they would say, "Oh, we have to vary Mad." No matter what you would leave out of Mad in an issue, there'd be 10 letters going, "That's my favorite thing." So it ended up that Mad pretty much stayed the same. Might have been an issue where they left out something,
Mm-hmm.
but that was always his favorite part of the magazine. So the magazine didn't change much because
Didn't have to for
fans,
me anyway.
yeah, fans liked it the way it was.
So going back to signatures,
Yes.
this is one of my prized possessions.
Oh, San Viviano?
Yeah,
Is that me over there?
no,
No. Okay.
I was at Comic-Con.
Oh,
I
okay.
was I was working, I was at a booth, and whenever I got to take a break, fortunately we were really close to Sergio's booth. So I'd run
Oh,
over
are
there.
you a comic book person? Are
Oh
you, are
yeah.
you and
Yeah,
you write them or?
um a little bit. Mostly I'm a collector though, and especially
Okay.
Sergio's Grew and all of his stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm standing in line, I'm next in line, and once I get up, I handed him some comic book to sign, and I hear behind me, he's like, Sergio, where do you want to go to dinner? And I turned around, it's John Ficarra and Sam Viviano. So I grabbed this off of Sergio's rack. I'm like, I'm buying this. Everybody sign it.
Great.
And then Tom Richmond was also a Comic Con.
Oh, super.
Cooper, I got all of them at that.
Great. Yeah, Tom Richmond is great. We did a lot of movies together after Drucker sort of semi-retired or retired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a couple of Drucker signatures too.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Great.
one was from his caricature book, and the other's from one of his coloring books, one of the political coloring books.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Tom Richmond is also great putting in shtick in my I think the favorite thing I wrote in the last years was to take off on the movie Sully with the plane in the Hudson River.
okay.
And and I like that on the front of the plane there's a key like and a doorknob like would be on a house.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little shtick like that. It was so I thought was so funny.
Have you seen Tom Richmond and Desmond Devlin's new book, Claptrap?
Not only have I seen it, I have a copy here delivered in person by Des.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. With
I
a
actually have my name in it. I got into the Schmendrick level so that he drew a picture of Morgan Freeman in it for me.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, and actually, I when I was at Comic Con that same year, I got him to draw a caricature of me, and that's pretty much the only mad thing I have out on display all the time.
Oh, I think you should. You have it there?
Yeah, I do.
Let me see it.
Okay, hang on just a second. It's
Yeah.
on the other side of the room.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking I should have had it out and ready, but I didn't know
No,
we were
that's
going to
okay.
talk about it. But yeah, here it is.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's. Hang on, I put my headphones on backwards.
I was talking backwards. It's
Oh,
okay.
okay. That explains it then. Yeah, it's just I'm glad that I've gotten to meet some of the usual gang
Yeah.
and talk to you and tell you thanks about being a huge part of my childhood. I grew up in I was a Gen X, born in the late '60s, so I grew up when Mad was huge.
Yeah.
Like 2 million circulation.
Yeah, the Poseidon Adventure was like I have it on my door because one ran a big ad. Yeah, it was like 2.2 million something. It was pretty
Yeah,
astounding
it is
for a
crazy.
comic. Yeah.
But no, you asked me if I write comics. I actually did start writing a couple, and they're going to be published.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So seeing, well, actually, I did a rug for um, Andrew Goldfarb for Freaky,
Oh, okay.
and he's
Yeah.
got he's got it hanging at his place, and he published it. He said he paid extra for color in the back cover inside
Just to run that.
just to
Wow.
run that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the next issue, number 10, is coming out. Supposed to be coming out next month, February.
Right.
And I wrote a 2-page comic and another one panel gag that he's going to publish. They were illustrated by Cam Hayden.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh,
That's okay.
yeah. You asked me if I have them all, so just so you know,
Oh my
there's
God.
yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah. Out of these comic issues, though, this one is by far my favorite. It's in really good shape, and it's a beautiful Jack Davis cover. I love this comic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my collection starts, I think, with issue 67. And then my first thing was in 69, in issue 69.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I picked up my first issue when I was 10. Well, I'd read it before because it was, we'd go to the grocery store and my parents were like, you stay here. So yeah, great. I'm reading Mad while they're shopping for groceries. But finally at 10 years old, and I still have it. It's issue number 199. It's got an Al Jaffe cover on it.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I set myself a big task. It's like I want them all.
Okay. Okay.
And in the process, even just learning it used to be a comic book and then the whole EC story
Yeah.
and how unlikely everything that happened with Mad, and that was just made it all that more fun. It's just everything's like that couldn't have happened. No way could that happen. And it did.
Yeah, no. No, yeah, 23 issues as the comic, and I don't know what we're up to now because they started renumbering it
Mhm.
when it went to LA.
Which Gaines said they would never do. It'd never be, they'd never renumber and have a new volume or anything. And they
Yeah.
did that. And I'm like, why? And
Well,
it's
that's okay because we can say in New York we did 550 copies,
mm-hmm.
and in LA they only got up to number 10 before they gave up.
Yeah. Sad day for all of us. So do you keep in touch with the other usual gang
From
or the
time to time,
surviving ones anyway?
yeah, Sam Viviano lives about 20 blocks from here, so every couple of months we meet for breakfast, or he'll stop by uh, to talk about something. And John Ficarra, maybe once or twice a year. John lives out on Staten Island, so it's sort of a hassle to get into the city.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lunch or something. So we keep, and I would call when Jaffe was alive. I would call him every couple of months. As a matter of fact, the day he died, Sam and I were supposed to be going to his house for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But he made it almost to 102, like 3 weeks shy of 102. He was amazing, just
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, and he's another one. I have his autobiography or his biography, but he illustrated it,
Yes,
and it's got his signature in it. A cousin of mine found that and picked it up for me. I got the
great.
whole family on the hunt, but I mean, anymore, it's like before you just pick something up, let me know because I don't should buy it. I already have it. So
Right.
I want I'd like for you to talk about what you're doing now with the GizWiz.
Well, I loved gadgets, and my office at Goodson Todman was. Oh, I always had weird gadgets, and then Barbara Griff, who was one of the producers on To Tell the Truth, left Goodson Todman to do a local show here in the city called Saturday Morning Live.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a pet person and a gardener and a craftsman and a chef. And Barbara called up and she said, your office is full of weird gadgets. Did you ever think about coming on television and showing a couple of them? And I said, that sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And she said, oh, people like that. We got some letters. Do you have more? I said, Barbara, do I have more? So I
Because
did
you
it.
literally have a warehouse full of that
I
stuff.
do. I really do. It's ridiculous. Um, and I kept doing it. And she said, can you want to be on every week? And I said, yeah, that sounds good. And then someone from Regis called and said, are you under contract to Metro Media? And I said, no. And so I started doing a monthly thing with Regis and then Good Morning America.
Mm-hmm.
And then the overnight news, which is I like the overnight news because they're very crazy over there. And their slogan is where most insomniacs get their news. And it's funny that people are watching the news.
Hmm.
I was on this morning at 2:45 a.m. Uh, yeah, and then I met this guy, Leo Laporte, who had a network called Twit, This Week in Tech. And he said, I do a monthly show and a weekly show, but I want to do a daily show. Are you interested? So we started the Daily GizWiz. And then after a while, the editors complained about having to edit a daily show. Why did you do 5 gadgets in one show? And we'll only have to edit one show. So it turned into the GizWiz. And then it became Twit dropped it and we just went public supported. And now we're up to next month we'll start year 19. Year
Wow.
19. It must be one of the longest running podcasts. Not by far the best or adequate, but it's still running. It's still running.
Well, again, like with Mad, it's honest and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like bare bones. I mean, and this is new to me. This is going to be my fourth YouTube video, and I'm just figuring it out. And so it's going to be rough around the edges for a while, probably forever, because I don't know. I just there's something dishonest about it being too slick to me.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely, and that's the great thing about the GizWiz is there's no executive saying you need to do more of this, so you need to do more. We just do it,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
so
yeah,
that's good.
I watched the last three episodes that you
Oh my
put up
God!
on YouTube. There's the best, the worst of
Oh yes,
2023, and then the CES. The first there's going to be three CES
yes,
shows,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, that's kind of like your Comic Con. Did you not get to go because of the weather?
You
Or
know what? I am tired of going to CES. I did 30 of them.
wow,
You walk. I did a pedometer one year. You walk 13 to 14 miles
wow.
during the typical CES. And now with Zoom and a lot of the shows put a ton of stuff on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
then CES has their own channel.
Okay,
So I can see a lot of stuff without and also uh, a little worried about COVID because it was
right.
155,000 people from all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And normally a bunch of us would get sick after CES. But my co host, who did go, and our producer, camera person went, and they both were fine. So Chad was there and shot a lot of video. I got a lot of video from CES. And then if I saw something that I thought was good, like for World News Now, I
Mm-hmm.
just would email Samsung and say, you have like a minute of video of the thing without, can you take all the overlays all out of it so I can just use it as B-roll?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was able to put that spot together without going.
Do you get manufacturers contacting you and ask you to
Oh
rate their
my
stuff?
God. I've been the GizWiz for like 35 years. I get probably 200 emails a day. I
Oh,
don't think I've ever been taken off a list. People pitching products. And
yeah. My
at one point I just started a separate account and I said I emailed everybody uh, take off this email and just use this email. No one did that.
uh-huh.
So they send two of every day I get two of everything. Um, yeah.
Yeah, my wife loves gadgets. I do too. The very best gift I've ever gotten, and it's like you've seen A Christmas Story. The kid wants the BB gun. My thing was always I wanted one of the big Swiss Army knives.
Oh, okay.
So I was just hanging out with my wife down on Seattle Center, or not Seattle Center, the Pike's Place, and there was a cutlery store. I was like, oh, let's go in here. And I just really quick mentioned I'd always wanted one of those, and she got it for me that Christmas.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And then
Great.
just recently for my birthday, she got me I had a cheap can opener that I bought at IKEA. It would, it'd slip and it ridiculous. And I said, what I want is one of those ones that cut around the edge and it takes so you
Yes.
can, and she got me that for my birthday. So
Oh, great. Great. Yeah. No, and the other thing is, it turns out that a lot of people are getting turned off by how crazy complicated some gadgets are getting.
mhm.
And a perfect example was years ago, they had the first trash can with an electric eye. So as you approached it, it opened.
Okay.
So that it was great. You know, you have your hands are full of garbage and you approach this and the
And
thing
you don't
flips
have to
open.
touch the
Yeah,
germy
yeah,
stuff to open it up. Yeah, great.
yeah. And a couple of years later, I'm at CES and the guy said, "Oh, you know, you did our can opener on World News Now and on the GizWiz. Wait till you see what we have now. We have the automatic paper towel dispenser." And I said, "Okay, how do I push this button?" He goes, "No, go to the menu
For a paper
and
towel.
tell
Huh?
it if you want a half a paper towel or one or two, three sheets of paper towels."
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
put in two and I hit the button and the thing starts. And I said, "Isn't the paper towel roll going backwards?" And he goes, "Yeah, the electric eye has to find the seam."
Jeez.
So it finds the seam and then it puts out two pieces of paper towel. And I go to tear it and he goes, "No, you can't tear it like that. You'll pull the machine over. Start at the bottom and tear up." And I'm thinking, are these people out of their minds? I mean, a paper towel is you walk over and I'm thinking, and it was like $100. It was,
Jeez. I think the machines are rising up. They're making us extra stupid, so we can't do anything by ourselves. Even
yeah,
ripping
yeah,
off one towel. Jeez, that's
yeah,
crazy.
no, no. And so the most fun we have is when we find uh, bizarre. I think we talked about it on the CES show. TV hat. Did you ever hear of TV hat?
Um, well, I saw the one that put the phone right in front of your face.
Yes,
So
yeah. And it has
okay.
a huge long bill, like an
Uh-huh.
8 inch. The cap is like 8 inches long, and a privacy curtain that drops down. And you put your phone in it, and the phone is on a rod,
Mm-hmm.
so you can adjust the focus. And then I think it has earbuds hanging down. You put in your ears, and it's like you're watching a movie in your hat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is the dumbest looking. I mean, I had more fun. I bought more TV hats. And it's very funny because on the show, someone in the chat room said, their website's live. Go to their website. And it is live
Mm-hmm.
and it's half price. It's $15. And I thought, oh, I didn't even know where mine is. I should just buy another one. And then I realized they never changed the copy. And it says, great for your Zoom or your Zune. And I suddenly realized, wait a minute, that TV hat can probably only take a smartphone, maybe with a 4-inch screen.
uh,
Nothing you have today would fit in TV hat.
Well,
Anyway,
they probably just had a lot of extra they need to get rid of first
yeah,
before they
that's
can
it. I
update
think
it.
that's exactly right. And they figure you won't know until you get it that nothing you have will fit in it.
Well, it's you've been so kind to give me your time. It's been
Oh
almost an
no,
hour. This has been a lot of fun for me. Thank you very much.
yeah, no. I always tell people like you is it's great when you do an interview with someone who really knows mad. I mean, you know it's going to be deadly when the first question is, what is that goofy character? Um, he says, what me hurry? He says something like, what me hurry?
Hmm.
And I go, oh dear God, I hope this interview is no more than 45 seconds. But when you get somebody like you who knows all the names and
Yeah, I'm
it's
not an
just great.
encyclopedia. I have
Yeah, yeah,
I
no,
have
it's
Guilford's
great.
page for that.
Oh my God, Doug, there's another Mad fan. Doug, Mad Cover Site. If you're a Mad
Hmm.
fan, you have to know about Mad Cover Site. He's astounding. My office used to have all the bound copies of Mad, and people were
Right.
coming in every day and, oh, I'm trying to find the so and so article. And with Doug Mad Cover Site, you can go in and find anything instantly. It's
Hmm.
great. It's great.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't have been able to complete my collection without it. It was
yeah,
just,
no.
and I've told him, I wrote to him and said, your website was invaluable to me
Yes.
completing my collection.
Yeah. No, we always plugged him at Mad because he saved us a ton of time hand looking through. We didn't have a digital.
Hmm.
Mad Cover Site was a digital database.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's super awesome. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've run out of questions. No, I haven't run out of questions, but we went just about an hour.
Uh,
Thanks again so much.
you're welcome. This is great fun and good luck with your podcast.
Oh, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. No, podcasting is great fun.